The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. You are listening to Itchy and Bitchy, a podcast that provides answers to your many health questions. On a recent episode, I talked about ways to support brain health and improve your memory, and today I want to talk specifically about the brain and menopausal women. There is a wonderful article about this topic in The Atlantic by Deborah Kopichan. I think she describes very well the symptoms that develop once someone enters menopause. Deborah says, I've been keeping a Google Doc of all my words my 53-year-old brain hasn't been able to remember. The list has grown long. It might have grown twice as long, but often I forget the word I've forgotten between forgetting it and rushing to the computer to write it down. Is this sounding familiar so far? Also, she says, next to the missing word in question, I note the description I used instead, such as, the thing that blows, that would be wind, or the kind of shirt that's soft and plaid, flannel. Some of these Jeopardy reading descriptions are surprisingly, if accidentally, poetic, such as the time bugs kept smashing against my car's windshield and I called my partner on the phone to say, there are so many dead bugs on the piece of glass that between me and the world. She continues to say, when I couldn't remember grill, I called it a cooker thing. The word reincarnation became that word Buddhists use for the next life. More recently, my daughter and some of her college friends saw me gussied up for a party and asked where I was going. It's a party for, I stammered, what is the thing when you're trying to raise funds? A fundraiser, her friend said, laughing. It is truly like that. Don't you think she describes it well? So many women, when they start moving into menopause, start wondering if this is normal or if they are in serious cognitive decline. This is a subject that comes up many times in our visits with patients. The average age of menopause is 51 years old. And Alzheimer's, the most common form of dementia, mainly affects people over the age of 65. So this fact can be reassuring to those women entering menopause, but however, 2/3 of people with Alzheimer's are women. Again, mostly happens after age 65, so if you're 51 and can't find your words, that's probably a menopausal thing versus true Alzheimer's. It has long been thought that this is because women live longer than men, the reason that 2/3 of people with Alzheimer's are women. But now that there have been some studies on women and neurologic health, we now know that estrogen is very neuroprotective for women. And this is likely the reason for the higher numbers of dementia in the female population when we lose that estrogen. Dr. Lisa Mosconi, the director of the Women's Brain Initiative at Weill Cornell Medical College, is in the earliest stages of research on this topic, and evidence thus far supports the theory that Alzheimer's might be triggered well before any signs of the disease are seen. And that trigger happens when women are moving from perimenopause into menopause. So at that transition, when our estrogen levels start dropping, this is when they're starting to see some effects to the brain. As Mosconi describes, quote, every woman knows that as you reach menopause, your hair goes dry, your skin goes dry. That's aging, she says. Few people are aware that the same thing would happen in the brain. Our brain cells start aging faster, end quote. In her studies, Mosconi has been doing MRI scans of the brains of perimenopausal women looking for brain atrophy, that's when the brain is shrinking, vascular damage, and connectivity. She is also using PET scans to evaluate brain energy levels and to look for Alzheimer's plaques. The initial data shows that middle-aged women have signs of higher risk for developing Alzheimer's compared to 40 to 60-year-old men whose brains are doing well. What is the reason for this difference? I will share that with you after a quick break. When our world changed in March 2020, I decided to start wearing scrubs instead of my street clothes to work for obvious health and safety reasons. If I was going to make the switch to scrubs for my everyday attire, I needed something stylish, comfortable, innovative, antimicrobial, and would look great wash after wash. I knew Fig scrubs would fit that bill. I now wear Fig scrubs to work every day, and I've started a Figs trend in our office. Not only are the nurses and physician's assistants looking stylish in Figs, but the pharmaceutical representatives that call on our office are now sporting Figs scrubs. We're all looking pretty darn good, I must say. Those of us in healthcare have some of the world's toughest jobs, made even tougher in the last year and a half. When Figs was founded in 2013, they had a single focus: to serve, celebrate, and empower healthcare professionals everywhere. Figs refers to healthcare pros as awesome humans. And because healthcare pros are here for us day and night, Figs wants to be there for us day and night too. Their innovative designs are stylish but never go out of style. And if you need pockets in your work clothes, they have items that have up to 20 pockets. They've got you covered. Also, Fig's proprietary Pheonix fabric is ridiculously soft with 4-way stretch, moisture wicking, anti-wrinkle, and Silvadur antimicrobial technology that inhibits odor-producing microbes and increases durability. And you can get your Figs customized with text and icon embroidery. I wear several different styles and colors of scrub tops and pants, and I love them all. And every day, I receive compliments from my patients on my scrubs. Who knew? Since I tend to get really cold in our overly air-conditioned office, I have Figs on-shift fleece vest. It's so stylish and comfy and warm. If you are one of the awesome humans who work in healthcare, Figs wants you to wear the scrubs you deserve and enjoy 15% off your first order. And if you're not working on the front lines, thank someone who is, with the best scrubs in the world. Figs will give you 15% off too. Use code ITCHY at checkout. Head to wearfigs.com, wearfigs.com, and enter code ITCHY at checkout. Get ready to love your scrubs. So what is the reason that changes are seen in the brain in women ages 40 to 60 that are not seen in the men of the same age? Estrogen. When the level drops in the brain is more vulnerable. Roberta Diaz-Brinton, the director of the Center for Innovation in Brain Science at the University of Arizona, agrees with Dr. Mosconi's assessment. Brinton says, quote, "Menopause is like puberty. It changes the brain forever. The loss of estrogen means that glucose metabolism in the brain, its primary fuel, is reduced by 20 to 25%. That's why women experience that they're off their game. They can still play the game, just not as well," end quote. So glucose metabolism is the use of sugar from your blood in your brain so that it can function well. That's reduced by 20 to 25% once you hit menopause. The studies do not show that menopause causes Alzheimer's. Rather, menopause is more likely a trigger than a cause. And menopause not only serves as a trigger for Alzheimer's, but for cognitive fog in general. Brain fog, famous amongst menopausal women. Brenton calls the word recall problem we menopausal women have the whatchamacallit syndrome. Mosconi believes that the time for treatment and prevention of Alzheimer's is at the end of a woman's reproductive years while we are still cognitively sharp. And she is working on developing those methods. She has a recently published book titled The XX Brain, the groundbreaking science empowering women to maximize cognitive health and prevent Alzheimer's disease. In her book, Dr. Mosconi introduces cutting-edge, evidence-based approaches to protecting the female brain, including a specific diet proven to work for women, strategies to reduce stress, and useful tips for restorative sleep. She also examines the controversy about soy and hormonal replacement therapy and takes on the perils of environmental toxins and examines the role of our microbiome. Perhaps best of all, she makes clear that it's never too late to take care of yourself. So all of those things that she talks about in that book are things that we have talked about on this podcast previously. Obviously, rest, sleep, reduce stress, exercise, healthy diet, and working on a healthy gut. There is so much we do not know about female biology because there are so few studies about women's health, and the participants in most studies have historically been predominantly men. A perfect example of how women are overlooked in the medical studies is seen when reviewing a small 2013 study during which it was accidentally discovered that Viagra relieved period cramps without any adverse side effects for up to 4 hours. But a panel of male reviewers said they did not see painful periods as, quote, as a priority public health issue, end quote, and refused to fund further studies. So back in 2013, we had a med that's already on the market that can help with painful periods, but no further studies were done because the only reviewers on the panel were men. And this is just one small example of how the female population has not been well served by our medical studies to date. The next step of ongoing studies on estrogen and brain health are now investigating the best time to and the best way to administer estrogen. So far, it has been determined that the most benefit occurs when the female hormones that include estrogen are started early in menopause, when women are first starting to have symptoms. They are also examining the best way to get estrogen to your brain because oral estrogen is not guaranteed to reach the brain in sufficient amounts. They're currently working on a way to inject estrogen directly into your brain. So I know that sounds sort of frightening, but they are looking at this as an option to treat or prevent dementia as women move into menopause. Until we have that option available, it is important to do the following. First, replace estrogen if you are a candidate. If estrogen replacement is something your health history allows you to do so early in menopause. Eat a healthy diet, especially rich in antioxidants. Exercise regularly, at least 150 minutes of aerobic exercise weekly, 150 weekly. Improve your sleep hygiene with a goal of 8 hours of sleep a night. I'm still working on that goal. And reduce stress. If you want more detailed recommendations, I recommend you purchase and read Dr. Mosconi's book, The XX Brain, that I spoke of earlier. She has specific ways to help support your brain health as you move into menopause, or if you're already in menopause. Like she said, it's never too late. It's never too late to improve your health. Many thanks to Figs for supporting today's episode. Forrest Winsel produces Itchy and Bitchy and is composer of our theme music. Please visit our Facebook page, INB Podcast, where you can leave comments or questions, and our website is itchyandbitchy.com. And always remember, your health is in your hands. Thanks for listening.